its replacement with the current NG-CDF Act of 2015, with the latest amendments which you signed into law in December 2023, which enhanced bursary allocation to 40%, climate change mitigation initiatives to 5%, expenditure for recurrent utilities and maintenance of ICT hubs to 3%, and social assistance in the education sector. The evolution of CDF, Your Excellency, is a journey by great men and women who had a vision for our country. From the time it started as a department in the National Assembly, when the late Samuel Ndindiri was the clerk and also the acting CEO of the fund. Followed by Patrick Gichohi, Timothy Gaku, who still serves in the Ministry of Treasury and Planning, Agnes Odhiambo, who is here with us. Agnes, I saw you somewhere. Agnes rose to the control of budget, and finally is an advisor in your office now, Your Excellency, and the current CEO, Yusuf Mbuno. Over the last 20 years, the board has been headed successively by different persons. Some of them I saw in the House. There was Lawrence Majali as the first chair of the board. Lawrence Majali, Honorable Nduati Kariuki, Jennifer Baraza, I saw her here, yes, thank you Jennifer. Honorable Dr. Elias Mbau, and Robert Masese, who has sent an apology. And now yours truly standing here. Your Excellency, I've seen members of the previous boards who have had the opportunity to be here with us. I kindly ask members of the board, those who have served in different boards in the NG-CDF, right from inception, please stand up wherever you are. Those former directors of the board. We have followed on the footsteps of these men and women. Thank you. Sit down, please. Your Excellency, the guidance we have received from our parent ministry through the CS, Professor Ndungu Njoroge, and his team has been immense. And we continue to receive this guidance for the service of our country, and we hope and we intend to work very closely with this office to attain our national goals. The board has also enjoyed premium guidance from the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Wetangula, through the National Assembly Select Committee on NG-CDF, chaired by my friend, Honorable Musa Sirma of Eldama Ravine. Musa is here, will have a chance to speak. And the Decentralized Funds Accounts Committee. Previous chairpersons of NASC who have held that position include Honorable Ekwe Ethuro, who later rose to be the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Moses Lesonet, Honorable Maoka Maore, and Honorable Bafula Wamunyinyi. Your Excellency, the fund has grown exponentially over the last 20 years, from an initial allocation of 1.2 billion in 2003-2004 financial year, growing to 57.9 billion now, resulting in a cumulative total of 522 billion over the years. The board has developed a unique model under the Act where NG-CDF committees in the constituencies engage in robust public participation to identify key development priorities in each constituency. Then the board disburses funds to these committees, and the committees disburse the same to individual PMUs, project management committees, for implementation. Your Excellency, this model has made the board run one of the most cost-effective funds in our country. This is because of the men and women in the NG-CDF committees in the constituencies and the PMCs who tirelessly toil to ensure prudent expenditure of public funds. Your Excellency, these men and women are here with you in this function today. Their current sitting allowances were fixed 20 years ago at the inception of the fund and has not been changed since then. Your Excellency, they have asked me to request you with utmost humility that despite our current restricted economic space, you kindly consult with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to consider enhancing their allowances to reflect their responsibilities. Your Excellency, currently we dedicate about 1.5 billion annually towards our bursary scheme to benefit approximately 1.2 million needy students. Our partnership with the Ministry of Education consumes about 78% of all the funds that we receive from the Exchequer. The fund has facilitated the establishment of 3,087 new primary and secondary schools, including 16 new schools for students with special needs. These have gone a long way in supporting the government's policy of access to free primary and secondary education. In support of tertiary education, Your Excellency, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and the Board of the Kenya Medical Training Colleges, the fund established 16 new KMTs campuses in the country. Our partnership with the Ministry of Interior has seen the fund, in coordination with the National Police Service and the National Government Administration, put up police posts, police stations, sub-county police headquarters, assistant chiefs' offices, assistant county commissioners and deputy county commissioners' offices all over the country. These have brought services closer to the citizens and help in creating secure environments for residences and businesses. With the latest amendments in December 2023, Your Excellency, the fund is now collaborating with the Ministry of Environment on the implementation of projects that mitigate climate change. The board has already held consultative meetings with the ministry with a view to ensuring that the ministry's officials are assigned to all our 290 constituencies in the country so that climate change mitigation activities are grounded at the grassroots in each of these constituencies. The fund is also collaborating with the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy in the construction and sustainability of ICT hubs. I'm glad to report, Your Excellency, that the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy has now forwarded to the board guidelines that will ensure prudent and expeditious use of funds in the setting up of new ICT hubs. The implementation of NG-CDF projects is aligned to our country's Vision 2030, the fourth medium-term plan, and clearly manifests the grassroots meaning to the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. With our staff spread over the 290 constituencies, Your Excellency, we have made deliberate efforts to improve our effectiveness and efficiency in our operations through automation, improved performance management, implementation of quality management systems, enhanced research and planning, strengthened internal accounting systems, and improved audit and risk management. The board remains committed to ensuring prudent management of the fund. We will continue strengthening the project management practices, enhancing human resource productivity, promoting good corporate governance, improving our communication and partnerships, and digitally transforming our processes. Your Excellency, the board has now deliberately embarked on a reform trajectory that will improve our responsiveness to the needs of our people and the needs of the National Assembly. We aspire to achieve the goals agreed on at the just concluded Third National Wage Bill Conference at Bomas so that we reduce wastage, inefficiency, corruption, and we attain 35% ratio on the wage bill, and we enhance efficiency, productivity. Your Excellency, we are striving both at the board and in our constituencies to attain zero-fault audit. And Your Excellency, allow me now as I close to quote you once more. On the 22nd of September 2022, in the media, I quote, "Having been in Parliament for 15 years, before and after the establishment of NG-CDF, I know that the difference it makes is monumental. I believe there's a way NG-CDF can be aligned to the tenets of the Constitution." Close quote. Your Excellency, I wish to thank members of the National Assembly for the responsibility and coordination that we have had through NASC, and I hope that as we look forward over the coming years, this will be filled with even greater achievements and progress, not just for your government, but also for the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Your Excellency, I wish to thank you. Your Excellency, allow me now to introduce Honorable Musa Sirma, Chairman of the Select Committee of Parliament, with whom we coordinate very actively.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, Deputy President, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, CS, all protocols observed. Because of time, Your Excellency, I just want to do, I'm not even reading my speech because of time. I just want to introduce members of NASC who are here. They can stand where they are, please. Members of NASC, these are my committee, Your Excellency. Kasim Tandaza Sawa is my vice chair. Beatrice Elachi is our member. Susan Duyo is our member. Mwalio from Masinga, Your Excellency. Prota Sakuja from Turkana, and Cliff Kizairo of Kitutu Masaba. And we have Njoroge from Kieni. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, I'll be rude if I do not allow the Member of Parliament for Roysambu to just welcome us, and then he can sit just a minute. Mwafrika.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, CS is present, and all other protocols observed. My name is Commander Mwafrika. I'm the area member of Parliament. And that is by God's grace and by the grace of the great people of Roysambu. Allow me to take this opportunity to welcome you here in Roysambu, and also to invite you to enjoy the serenity of this area. Thank you and welcome.
Your Excellency, we want to thank you as the President of the Republic of Kenya because of your commitment in supporting CDF in this country. The CS made a promise, Your Excellency, and I know it's a promise from you, that we are going to get our money by the end of the year. That was last year, and we got it in full, including what had not been paid by the former administration, 4.9 billion. Despite the fact that you found the empty coffers, Your Excellency, you managed to get that money to us. Your Excellency, in this year, this financial year, we are on course as per your promise. And Your Excellency, we got the last tranche some few days, 3 days ago, which was for April. And you made a promise that we're going to get it every month. And you have made a promise. Your Excellency, the President, these members are very happy. And they are saying that may God give you that energy to protect us and make this country better than what it is. Your Excellency, again, I know you are going to possibly, if you, there is a lot of floods in the country. It may even overwhelm the amount of money we have as members of Parliament in terms of repairing the infrastructure which will have been destroyed by the floods. Your Excellency, as you make your budget on this emergency, think about our rural areas and the schools which have been damaged, so that, because they are not in the budget which we have already submitted to the board, and we do not want to break the promises we have made to people. Consider us in your emergencies where you can, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, you know there are very many toilets which have sunk. There are many areas which have been swept away. Your Excellency, I also want to reiterate that with the amendment of 2023 Act of NG-CDF, the key and the pillars under which we want to run this is the ICT hubs, Your Excellency, which is your flagship project. And we want to say we are supportive of that, and I can assure you, Your Excellency, these members are supportive. The climate change, we are ready and we want to start off and take off as a country, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, I don't want to take a lot of your time because you have other things to deal in this country. Because if you are going to listen to me, every other thing will get late. So let me stop at that. Let me take this opportunity to ask the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndungu, my great friend. Welcome, CS.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, His Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Wetangula, members of the National Assembly, the MPs who make it work, who have made the difference. My colleagues, Cabinet Secretary, I can see Moses Kuria, and my other colleagues, PSs. I don't know why my colleagues didn't come. I don't know whether Moses Kuria, you can explain why we don't have most of them. But anyway, it's just an interesting case. I am very delighted to be here, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, to actually give a few remarks. And because it's a celebration, we make sure that the remarks are minimal so that we can enjoy most of the rest of the time with the celebration. But let me say that it gives me great pleasure and privilege to welcome you you all today for this 20th anniversary celebration of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. We call it NG-CDF. And this commemoration not only marks 2 decades of the fund's existence, but also serves as an opportunity to reflect on the remarkable journey of the fund, to also showcase the fund's accomplishments, to actually look at the milestones and even the positive impacts on Kenyans, but also to make sure that there are some lessons to be learned, which is very, very critical for us. We learn from the lessons. In the year 2004, the Kenya government took the bold step towards decentralizing of government resources at the national level and empowerment of citizens on the ground by establishing the Constituency Development Fund. This visionary and constructive initiative was aimed at bringing the development closer to the grassroots, and while also ensuring that each and every constituency in the country had the resources and opportunities to flourish. The NG-CDF objective, therefore, resonates very well with the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda that recognizes that most Kenyans have been left behind, and so a time has come to develop a framework of fostering sustainable inclusive growth and economic transformation. This requires a new policy reform space, a set of interventions, and a new development paradigm for us to succeed. The NCDF has been and will therefore continue to be a major contributor to this development paradigm in the country, and is therefore a source of pride for us all. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, as Kenya grapples to mitigate against the negative global and persistent shocks that have actually affected us and they continue to affect us, the NG-CDF remains a critical factor in the country's mitigation at the levels of the constituency level and even investment in adaptation. And this will help to mitigate against these negative economic shocks and reduce the effects. The other negative side of this persistent and negative shock is to reduce our resource base such that we lose the flexibility due to limited fiscal space as we shift resources to save lives. For example, the current floods. Before that, there was El Nino. Before that, there was a severe drought. But we also recognize that there are notable initiatives that have been implemented by the Constituency Development Fund. They include the construction and rehabilitation of classrooms and dormitories, establishment of new Kenya medical training colleges, campuses across the country, and infrastructure improvement in pre-existing areas of campuses. For us, it is quite critical that we appreciate all these efforts that have been made, and we do believe that the fund has been used in the acquisition of even school buses, as we have seen the numbers in the presentation that we have seen, awarding of bursaries to needy students, and we have seen that, and the financing of health insurance premiums for vulnerable groups. Your Excellency, the government's acknowledgement of this impactful work carried out through the NG-CDF can be reflected by its commitment to fortify the fund through revisions to the resource allocation. In the original budget for the financial year 2023-2024, the NG-CDF was allocated a total of 53.53 billion. At the supplementary estimate, a further Kenya shillings 4.4 billion was allocated to the fund, of which 3.4 billion was set aside for the 290 constituencies as a conditional grant towards construction of classrooms and integrated learning centers with junior secondary schools. The amount allocated to each of the 290 constituencies was determined on the basis of grade 7 enrollment, and the balance of 1 billion was additional allocation to 17 constituencies in Nairobi for the school infrastructure development. This therefore gives a total budget allocation of 57.93 billion for the financial year 2023-2024, the current one that we are going through. But despite the tough economic conditions, and I appreciate Honorable Musa Sirma's remarks, the country is facing very severe conditions, but the National Treasury has managed to disburse 40 billion to date, and it is committed to disburse the remaining amount before the end of the financial year. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I wish to applaud the dedication and hard work of those who have been involved in the administration and implementation of the fund over the years. Your commitment to service delivery, and your firm belief in the power of grassroots development has been the driving force behind the fund's success. I would like to express my gratitude to the Board of Directors of NG-CDF, management and staff of NG-CDF, the constituency NCDF committees, and even project management committees for their unwavering support in ensuring the NG-CDF achieves its vision, as was demonstrated by just a few cases of what His Excellency was introduced to. Your Excellency, my office continues to provide all the necessary support and guidance to ensure the NG-CDF achieves its objectives. And so, with this, I invite you all to join us in this, celebrating these significant milestones in the country's development, and I'm sure it is going to be very, very important for us all. Then, if that is the case, today is a day of celebration. We need to limit the activities and make sure that we celebrate. But before we start the celebration, let me invite a few speakers, but I will start with my friend, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Wetangula. We have come a long way. That is why most of the time I actually tell you, honorable members, this is your speaker. Order, members, thank you very much. Please, Honorable Wetangula, it's my distinguished honor to invite you here to make your speech and applaud the work that has been managed by the CDF.
Thank you very much, Minister. Your Excellency, our President, our Deputy President, members of Cabinet, members of the CTF Board, led by Olaga Alwoch. May I start, Your Excellency, by inviting all members of Parliament present. These are the frontline warriors of CDF to stand up and be acknowledged. all members of Parliament who are here today, thank you. We applaud you as the patrons of each CDF fund in your constituencies. Your Excellency, you and I, and perhaps one or two members here, were in Parliament before CDF and after CDF. And we clearly appreciate and understand the value and impact of CDF. In biblical terms, we could say we came in BC and lived through AD. CDF has done a wonderful job countrywide. If you, in comparative terms, Your Excellency, and this is not in any way demeaning what our great governors do, in many jurisdictions, you are likely to see a lot more visible CDF work than devolution work. And I want to encourage members of Parliament to be committed to the management of this fund, because before CDF, for those of us who were there earlier, being a member of Parliament was a nightmare. Everybody looked at you to do what has been recounted here, and when CDF came, it mitigated many of our issues. I've been telling Kimani Ichung'wah, our majority leader, that you must never waste a minute in defending CDF anywhere and everywhere where it is assaulted. The challenges we have been facing with CDF, Your Excellencies, as usual, the litigious Kenyans, the vexatious litigants, who at every twist and turn must go to court to challenge anything that comes our way. But we have been surmounting it, and I want to assure members of Parliament that His Excellency is committed to CDF, and CDF is here to stay and to grow and grow and grow. That we have now expanded it to ICT, to environment, and the sky is the limit. The law is in your hands. You need to change CDF to meet any other requirements in society. We will facilitate you. Let me end here, Your Excellency, by urging all Kenyans that the country is now being ravaged by floods. Let's be each other's keeper, and as we go to the future, Your Excellency, we must now challenge our planners to ensure that we don't allow Kenyans, wherever they are, whoever they are, to construct dwelling houses and building houses in water-prone paths. Because when water comes, it is more ferocious than fire. On that note, Your Excellency, allow me to ask all of us to be upstanding for a minute to observe a minute's silence for the great Kenyans who have lost their lives through the ravaging floods in the country. May the good Lord rest their souls in eternal peace, and may this be the last tragedy of that nature that we face. Thank you. Now may I invite my good friend, Mr. Makweli Rigiji, our Deputy President, to come and say a few words and invite His Excellency to address you. Thank you.
Thank you, Omwami. The former Member of Parliament for Eldoret North, Dr. William Ruto, who is also the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Speaker, the honorable members, good morning. I've come here to accompany the President for these great celebrations, because like him and all of you, I'm a great beneficiary of the CDF fund. And the CDF fund played a significant role in my path to leadership. I just want to say this is a good fund. Take good care of it and drive it yourself. Don't leave it to your PA and you are chairman of the fund. We know members of parliament who have been unseated by their PAs using this fund. There are members of parliament who have been unseated by the chairman of their fund. This is a good fund, but please join our government in the hen approach. Ukifanya kitu kidogo tu, pigia debe. The hen inataka mayai kidogo tu, inapanda juu ya nyumba, inapiga kelele masaa 4. Ndio kila mtu ajue kuna mayai imefanya nini? Ng'ombe tu na ujinga yake inatoa maziwa lita 50 imekimia. Hakuna mtu anajua iko maziwa na inakuwa namna hiyo. This fund, Your Excellency, with the current allocation, let me be truthful. Ukifukuzwa kwa bunge, ukiwa na hiyo pesa, you had no business being in bunge in the first instance. Lakini ukipanga vizuri, uipigie debe, utakuwa sawa. So please do what you need to do. So mine is very simple. We have a senior former member of parliament here who was elected as a member before CDF. He has a story to tell. He was a member when there was CDF. He has a story to tell. He has a wealth of experience. So it's only fair that I don't waste time to allow him to come and share his experiences and give you what he thinks you can do. But be assured, President William Ruto, from where I sit, is a believer and a great defender of this fund. And I want to assure you, in his 10 years of leadership, you guys are safe. But what you do with the fund is up to you. With those many remarks, let me request you be upstanding to welcome the former member of parliament for Eldoret North, Dr. William Ruto, to come and give his remarks.
Thank you very much. Asante sana, Bwana Deputy President. Honorable members, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Mr. Deputy President, the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, CS President, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, good morning. I'm Jambo. I am truly, truly grateful to have this moment, to have this conversation and to participate in this great celebration. Somebody has not posted my speech here properly, but in any case, let me deal with it in a different way. And that's why I am delighted this morning to join you today to celebrate 2 decades of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, an initiative that has been timely, inspired, and transformative in our nation's development journey. Let me celebrate my friend, Engineer Karue. Tumpigie makofi jamani. It is true that when we came to Parliament, Keti Mheshimiwa, when we came to Parliament, and we were sworn in 2008, 1998, there was no CDF in that, I think, 9th Parliament. Was that 8th Parliament? There was no CDF. And the salary was 17,000 Kenya shillings. So just imagine what that looked like. Salary was 17,000 and you don't have CDF. And we still ran constituencies. That's why Engineer Karue will go down in the annals of history as a person of great foresight. And with many of us who were in Parliament with him, and I'm very proud that I became part of the members in the 9th Parliament that saw to it that this Constituency Development Fund, then now NG-CDF, came to be. Initially known as the Constituency Development Fund, this fund was born out of a strategic reflection of development needs and has evolved to address our citizens' needs effectively in every part of the Republic of Kenya. It's crucial. Needs and expectations of grassroots people. The mission was clear: to rectify decades of neglect that had marginalized vast segments of our nation, particularly in remote and arid and semi-arid regions, by fostering grassroots involvement in development initiatives. It is not an exaggeration to state that the advent of NG-CDF finally delivered the framework which addressed the hopes and yearnings of people of Kenya for inclusive development, social justice, equity, and prosperity, which had eluded various policies and interventions, starting with Sessional Paper number 10 of 1965 on African socialism, and development programs and decentralization strategies like the District Forecast for Rural Development in 1983. Finally, CDF came to sort out the gap that existed between plans, government interventions, government initiatives, and the aspirations of people at the grassroots. Engineer Karue has explained to us very well the disconnect that always was there. And the standard answer in Parliament was, this and this is going to happen, and members used to ask questions, and it was a ritual that ended up with when funds become available. And the funds never became available as it was. The Constituency Development Fund Act of 2003 marked a significant turning point in our approach to development. Drawing lessons from the past, its pioneers recognized that true development begins from the bottom up, with communities owning and driving development projects based on the understanding of their localities. And if there is a program that is truly bottom up, it is CDF. It cannot be bottom up better than what CDF is, because it's about grassroots, it's about localities, it's about specifics, it's about local people understanding their needs, prioritizing finding what they think solutions is urgent and is emergency and is necessary. Subsequent enhancement, as reflected in various amendments, have fortified the NG-CDF Act as a vital tool for national development. It empowers local communities to partake in resource allocation and project prioritization, thereby democratizing the development process. When we talk about democratizing development process, it's those people in that village that they decide that we want to build a school here, that our priority is extra classrooms, that our priority is this project, and them realizing that dream because they made the decision. That is how development becomes democratized. by allocating funds directly to constituencies, the NG-CDF also confers citizens at the grassroots with resources and autonomy to meet their unique development needs with minimal bureaucracy, delays, waste, or inefficiencies. To put this in context, the NG-CDF National Board cannot spend more than 5% of allocated funds on their administrative functions and must disburse at least 95% to the constituencies where 94% of allocated funds are channeled directly into local development projects, which are overseen by project management committees composed of local people. And I am told some of them are in this audience, you know, local people, you know, and that is how this should be. Only 6% is devoted to administrative and recurrent expenditure. I know the chairman here has asked me to consider some allowances. Mr. Chairman, I don't want to lie to you, that is very difficult. It's very difficult. Because we are focused as a country. Today, out of the 2.2 billion Kenya shillings we collect, salaries, allowances, and those things take 1.1 trillion of the 2.2 trillion. 47% of all the money we collect from Kenyans pays salaries, allowances for only 1 million people out of 50 million people. I think the focus we should have, and I'm talking to leaders because members of parliament are among the most senior leaders in Kenya, that we must focus on how the other 49 million Kenyans can also have a job. And that is why the CDF has been amended, and I want to thank Parliament, the National Assembly specifically, for amending CDF so that we can provide job opportunities in the digital space through our ICT hubs. Members, I want you to listen to me very carefully. You have an opportunity to get 300, 1,000, 5,000 people working in your constituency. You have an opportunity today to influence through NG-CDF opportunities to be available in every ward in the Republic of Kenya. The amendment that has been made, and I was following very keenly, and we have now provided regulations on how this is going to happen. You have an opportunity to use the NG-CDF now to construct ICT hubs. The government of Kenya, we are going to deliver fiber optic. We are going to deliver teachers and trainers. We are going to deliver computers in your ICT hubs. And you have the opportunity to mobilize young people in every ward to participate in this space, get jobs under our digital program, and make a difference in your constituency. I don't know whether members of parliament understand the opportunity that is available to them. I am informed that only 91 constituencies have actually made proposals for their ICT hubs. I am asking myself, the other 200, or what, how many? 199. What is going on in their heads? I mean, surely, friends, I mean, what we are asking you is, those people who woke up very early to vote for you and they don't have a job, they have given you a job, you have a salary. You now have an opportunity kurudisha mkono. Please, Na mkiendelea namna hii nitawashtaki. Yeah? Those people, you now have an opportunity through this program to also get 200, 300, 400, 1,000 of them to also earn an income and also become part of the economy of Kenya. CDF is very important. The efficient allocation model has significantly improved the visibility and impact of NG-CDF projects nationwide. It also provides useful guidance on the resolve with which we must confront the monster of unnecessary expenditure in order to direct maximum resources to development. And that is why I have said by 2027, we must have reduced our recurrent expenditure from 47% at the moment to 35%. Let me ask you, if it is possible for CDF to spend only 6% or 5% on administration, why would we not spend 65% on development and 35% on recurrent? CDF has already demonstrated to us that it is doable, and therefore that should be our strategic focus. Today, NG-CDF stands as a testament to the power of a people-driven development agenda and the government's commitment to inclusive and democratic development. It has also become a reliable source of support for essential sectors such as education, health, and security. Through NG-CDF, 3,087 new schools have been established countrywide, 1,369 primary and 1,718 secondary schools across Kenya. By building accommodation facilities, the NG-CDF has also facilitated access to basic education for close to 900,000 learners and enhanced transition rates to secondary schools. It has also reduced the distance covered by learners and lowered the school construction financing burden on parents. Additionally, the NG-CDF provides about 15 billion shillings every year towards bursary schemes, benefiting an average of 1.2 million deserving learners from poor backgrounds. I want to encourage members. As you are all aware, we have changed the bursary or the model of funding of both our TVETs and our universities. And it is because we must be honest. We committed as government that we are going to provide 80% scholarship. We did not, because the resources were not there. We provided 40%. And for almost 10 years, our universities and TVETs almost ground to a halt. In fact, they had ended up with bills upwards of 60 billion. Some of the universities did not even have money to pay salaries. Imagine, universities were paying half salary for lecturers because we had a dysfunctional model. I'm very happy that we are now engaging with universities. Under our new model, we have some revision to do in certain areas. We are working with universities, but I want to say that model is now responsive. And I want to urge members to disburse the CDF bursaries in a way that the most vulnerable benefit. That is the model that we have also adopted. I mean, there are parents, like those of us seated here. Why would we want to give the child of Rigathi Gachagua or William Ruto 80% bursary at the university when we have been paying 200,000 per term in you know? And then in the process, we make children of even the poor people to miss out on education. So we have changed the model. Children of people like myself and the members of parliament here, we will give you scholarship of 20%. Hiyo ingine, ujipange hapo ulipe. Si ndio? Yes, so that we take more money to the children of the people who deserve it. So, nimesikia wabunge wengine wanapiga kelele, sijui namna gani. Hapana, hiyo story si nzuri. Nyinyi lipeni pesa ya watoto wenu, na mimi pia nilipe. Wacha ile pesa ya serikali tusaidie wale watoto wa wale watu wako, wale wametupigia kura, tuwasaidie hao. Further, the NG-CDF has entered into a collaborative framework with the Ministry of Education to support the establishment of teacher training institutes, and I have opened some of them. So far, 155 TTIs have benefited from this collaboration. And I want to assure members here that we have now gotten approval to equip another 70 technical training colleges around Kenya. I know members of Parliament, most of them have been to my office, some of them have asked in different meetings when we are going to equip some of those TVETs. I now want to confirm to you that it will happen very shortly. In a similar partnership with the Kenya Medical Training College, the NG-CDF has established 61 Kenya Medical Training Colleges campuses across Kenya and provided resources to improve infrastructure in 14 existing campuses, as a result of which the total capacity has increased by 13,500 students. And you know the importance of the health sector, especially in the context of our universal health coverage. We will need additional healthcare workers across Kenya. In the health sector, the NG-CDF, through a partnership with the National Health Insurance Fund, has been financing health insurance premiums for 27,870 vulnerable households annually, leading to significant enhancement access to high-quality healthcare for disadvantaged Kenyans, in line with our universal health coverage aspirations under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Regarding security, the NG-CDF has provided funds for construction and repair of national government administrative premises, including offices, police stations and posts, and staff housing. The fund has also financed high-mast security lighting in low-income and informal settlements, leading to significant reduction in incidences of crime in these areas. I am delighted to confirm that the digital superhighway strategy pillar of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda has received a direct boost from the NG-CDF, which has contributed to the establishment of at least 116 constituency innovation hubs. Additionally, the fund, as I have said, will support the establishment of 1,450 digital hubs, one in every ward in Kenya. And let me say the following, members. I have told the board, Mr. Olago Aluoch is here, and his team, that we must prioritize constituencies that have given us a program on ICT hubs. Let them receive approval of their constituencies first. We must also target the other areas that are critical to our development as a country. I do not take the support of NG-CDF for granted. The readiness of the NG-CDF to support pro-people development projects is a continuing demonstration of its radical vision for the empowerment of communities in order to drive inclusive growth and give every Kenyan an opportunity to thrive and contribute to our nation's prosperity, regardless of their circumstances or background. This is a good opportunity to express my profound appreciation to our National Assembly for decisively rallying to the cause of climate action through the NG-CDF Amendment Act 2023, which amended the law to increase the ceiling of permissible allocation by constituencies towards climate action from 2% to 5%. As you're all aware, we are confronting the ruthless impact of climate change in the form of severe and devastating flooding in numerous parts of the country, which has followed swiftly after one of the longest and severest drought in recent history. By promoting the employment of local contractors, suppliers, and labor, as well as the utilization of local materials, the NG-CDF enhances inclusion and stimulates local economic activity, leading to employment and wealth creation around Kenya. Project management by committees chosen from the local community leads to continuous social monitoring of project implementation and high-level ownership, which enhances their sustainability. The principles and aspirations which have animated our quest for inclusive development and the democratization of our economy have survived many years of determined struggle and remain alive today. Foremost is Article 10.2, as well as Chapter 11 of the Constitution. The Constituency Development Fund framework was a successful pilot project. By responding to feedback and incorporating continuous learning, the NG-CDF has evolved into a popular and effective mechanism for impactful local development and service delivery. The presence of the pioneers of NG-CDF, led by my good brother, Honorable Senator Muriuki Karue, is highly appreciated because it gives us a chance to appreciate, thank, and celebrate them for their visionary leadership, bold and innovative approach to development, and exemplary service. It also reminds me of the wonderful work we were able to do through CDF in my time as a member of the National Assembly. Many will remember that my constituency was awarded several times for the best use of funds. I say that very proudly, and I say that to contextualize, and so that every member of parliament here understands that CDF is a very important instrument for intervening on locally developed priorities at the grassroots. And because you hold that instrument, it is sacrosanct. And I promise you, members, you don't need anything else. If you use CDF properly, you will be re-elected. Just that. Because CDF puts at your disposal close to 600 million in your term of 5 years. Friends, with 600 million, if you cannot win an election, then you have, wewe ni bure kabisa. I mean, surely. Ati mtu tu ametoka huko, amefanya ukarabati, mpaka amekufukuza. Na umekuwa na 600 million, unaenda hapa unatangaza shule, unaenda hapa unatangaza, alafu unashindwa. And I want to say this without fear of any contradiction. Any member of parliament who presides over the misappropriation of CDF or the theft of CDF should never be elected. They should never be elected because it is the ultimate betrayal. Ultimate betrayal of the people who elected you. The people of Kenya have elected you, you have a salary of $1 million. And then the money that is meant for the bursary of the children, the money that is meant for the education of their children, ati wewe umeenda kuhangaika naye hapo mpaka ikapotea. Hapana. Hapana. Wacha tuambiane tu kweli. Mtu kama huyo afukuzwe kabisa na mapema. And therefore I want to say, this is where the seeds of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda were sown. And that is why I believe in bottom-up, because I could see the transformation CDF was making in local communities. As we celebrate this milestone, we must also recognize the challenges we have faced, including legal hurdles that require legislative responses to align the fund with constitutional imperatives. NG-CDF remains a beacon of sustainable and equitable development. Let me say this in closing. Those of us who are in the 9th Parliament, and my friend Ekwe Thuro was there with us and all the other people, yeah? We had the privilege of participating in the house that eventually brought CDF to be. And we are very proud of that moment. That's why we celebrate Karua and all the other people. Because this was the beginning of realization by local people in every part of Kenya of their aspirations that they could participate in meaningful development and decision making and eventually see development that they have participated in canvassing. You, as the 13th Parliament, you have the single opportunity to make sure that CDF becomes constitutional. And if there is one thing you must do for this Parliament, and I say so because you know how much we have been dodging, legal hurdles from all manner of people. And the cure, that's why when I came into office, I wrote to Parliament and I gave you 5 aspects that I think will assist us as a country to consolidate our democracy and our development paradigm. One of them is to make CDF a constitutional provision. That way, we will stop litigants from all manner of games. So those of us who had the privilege to bring this to be by joining Engineer Karue in the 9th Parliament, we want to see you as the 13th Parliament make your contribution also by making this CDF constitutional. The NARCO report is hanging somewhere in Parliament, and I don't know what it is doing. It was done, it was finished. Wewe leader of majority na leader of minority na hiyo watu wengine wote muharakishe hiyo maneno, kwa sababu sasa mnasikia iko kesi, kuna hata kesi nyingine sijui itaamuliwa next week. Sasa tutakuwa tunahangaika na hii kesi na tayari tumeshapitisha report. Sasa bunge nyinyi mnasijui mnakunya tu chai hapo hapo kwa members launch. Si muende mpitishe hii kitu ndio tuache kuhangaika na makesi. Si ndio? That is one responsibility I want to charge you. Number 2, I also want to ask Parliament to use the power of CDF to work with us on making sure that the funding model in the education sector is responsive to the vulnerable. As we reorient the funding model for our universities and TVETs, you too must work with us because 15 billion every year is a lot of money. So please, let's work together so that no child in Kenya is left behind, merely because of the financial background of their parents or where they come from. Let me also urge you as members of Parliament. The third thing I want to urge you is that there is one challenge we have as a country, and that challenge is millions of young people out of school, out of college, out of university, they don't have jobs. We have an opportunity to participate. I must thank you for working with me and working with this administration to make sure that we have deliberate, intentional programs like the housing program to create jobs. And I want to tell you, members, as I talk to you, we have 140,000 young people working in our housing program, people who are not working last year. I also want to urge you, the other program that is going to create job opportunities for young people in Kenya is the one I have told you about, the digital space, digital jobs, and ICT infrastructure is going to assist us in making sure that we democratize these opportunities to every ward in Kenya. We have changed the law, thanks to Parliament. Now you have the requisite latitude. And I have told the NG-CDF board to prioritize the deployment of the resources that we are making available. And I have committed that every shilling that is due to CDF will be paid before we close the budget. Because I understand the necessity and the importance of prioritizing CDF, because it gives us value for our development. So members, please, let's work together. In fact, my estimation is that if we started now, we just need between 3 and 4 months, and all the ICT hubs will be ready in Kenya. Then the responsibility for me is to make sure that they are equipped with computers, we have deployed ICT internet infrastructure, and we have trainers for the young people in those areas. The other fourth thing I want to ask Parliament, because I rarely get an opportunity like this to talk to members of Parliament, is the challenge of climate change. Members, you know very well, we've just come out of a devastating drought, hardly a year and a half ago. We lost 2.5 million heads of livestock. We had serious challenges with our food security. But straight in, we've ended up in another crisis of floods, mudslides. So if anybody doubted the challenge of climate change, it is tackling with us. And that is the reason why I encourage Parliament to change the NG-CDF Act so that we can have more resources to deal with matters environment. We have concluded the plan with the Ministry of Environment. The Cabinet has just went through it 2 days ago, and now we are ready with the plan. We expect every school that is under the patronage of members here to participate in this exercise, growing of seedlings, and we have a whole elaborate plan on how we are going to manage our environment. You know the danger where we are today. We have many citizens in precarious situations, in riparian reserves, in different parts. And I want to really appreciate many Kenyans who have stepped forward, and they are working with us to move away so that they can be evacuated and for their own safety be able to be relocated to other areas. I want to urge Parliament to fully deploy its weight and the resources and the leadership of members of Parliament in matters environment. Growing of seedlings, making sure that the tree planting exercise goes on in every part of the country, and I am looking forward to a partnership with you. Specifically for my friends in Nairobi, the members of Parliament in Nairobi. Nairobi is our capital city. Unfortunately, among the counties where there is a very big challenge of kids who are not in school, it is in Nairobi. Many kids in informal settlements are not in class. And that's the reason why I made a deliberate intention. And I said we are going to build an extra 3,500 classrooms in Nairobi County. We have allocated the first 1 billion shillings to do the first 1,000 classrooms. I have asked NG-CDF to work with the Nairobi County members of Parliament, prepare the necessary proposals so that we can fund, and I want this to happen before the end of this budget. Prepare the necessary proposals so that we can fund, and I want this to happen before the end of this budget. In the next 2 months, we must conclude it, so that we can get our children in Nairobi to go to school. Finally, let me thank, in closing, I extend my deepest appreciation to all who have contributed to the success of NG-CDF, particularly the visionary leaders, dedicated committee members, and the resilient communities we serve. Let us continue to work together with unwavering commitment and unity to build a brighter future for all Kenyans. In the era of the Kenya National Vision 2030 and bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the NG-CDF finds itself in its natural strategic habitat. As long as we stay the course and put in the work, and as long as we protect the funds entrusted to us with unwavering vigilance, the Kenya of our dream is within reach. Members, let me appreciate all of you, and I know those who have come from different constituencies of Kenya. Thank you very much. Constituency managers, members of boards, chairmen of different committees in different places. Congratulations for the great work you are doing. You are making all of us proud. Asanteni sana. God bless you. And I am sorry. This is an occasion that deserves celebration because for real, this has made a difference in Kenya. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much and God bless you.
With your permission, Your Excellency, we'll request you remain on stage for the presentation of a memoir that will be presented to you by Honorable Olago Oluoch, the chairperson, NG-CDF board. He will be making that presentation and also for a photo session. Let's give a round of applause as His Excellency receives the memoir.
And after that, Your Excellency, with your permission, would like to have some photo opportunities. And if I may request that we have the Board of Directors to kindly
Na mtazamaji, ni moja kwa moja kutoka hoteli ya Safari Park hapa jijini Nairobi, Rais William Ruto akiongoza hafla ya kuadhimisha miaka 20 ya kuwepo kwa hazina ya NG-CDF. Kwa kweli mtazamaji, ameainisha baadhi ya manufaa na pia changamoto ambazo hazina hii imekuwa ikipitia tangu mwaka 2003. Mtazamaji, kumbukwe kuwa hazina ya NG-CDF mtazamaji ilianzishwa na alikuwa rais hayati Mzee Mwai Kibaki mwaka 2003. Hazina hii ililenga mtazamaji kuangazia au kukuza kwa kina kuleta maendeleo mashinani. Basi mtazamaji, hapo Rais William Ruto kabla yake kulikuwa na viongozi anuai ambao waliangazia jinsi fedha hizi zimekuwa zikitumika tangu mwaka huu 2003. Basi serikali ya Kenya imewekeza zaidi ya bilioni 464 zikiwa ni jumla ya fedha ambazo ziligawa ama ambazo zilitengwa kwenye hazina ya NG-CDF, na kuna manufaa mengi tu mtazamaji. Na Bryce hapo awali akizungumza, Rigathi Gachagua alisema hata hivyo kuna umuhimu mkubwa wa wabunge kuhakikisha ya kuwa wametumia hazina ya NG-CDF kwa njia inayofaa. Aidha pia alisisitiza ya kwamba ufisadi ndio umekuwa kikwazo kikuu cha uendeshaji wa maeneo bunge. Aidha mtazamaji, kumekuwa tu na hii hazina ya serikali ya kitaifa ya usawi wa maeneo bunge. NG-CDF ni hazina na iliyobuniwa na sheria ya NG-CDF kulingana na katiba ya Kenya ya mwaka 2015. Kumbuka kuwa hapo awali ilikuwa inajulikana kama CDF na kurekebishwa mwaka wa 2023, lengo likiwa ni kusaidia miradi ya miundo msingi ya maeneo bunge ambayo inafaa kutekelezwa na serikali ya kitaifa. Hazina hii kama nilivyosema hapo awali ilianzishwa mwaka 2003 kupitia sheria ya bunge, wakati huo ikiitwa hazina ya ustawi wa maeneo bunge CDF, na kuanzia kutekelezwa mwaka 2004. Kwa sababu hiyo imefikisha miaka 20. Rais William Ruto ndiye alikuwa mgeni heshimiwa wa kuadhimisha sherehe hii ya hazina ya NG-CDF inatumia mtindo tofauti wa usimamizi wa miradi ambayo ni wa kipekee katika sekta za umma. Mtindo huu, mtazamaji, ni wa kupunguza kabisa gharama za usimamizi. Aidha, NG-CDF imesambaza hadi shilingi hizo bilioni 464 katika maeneo bunge yote yapatao 290 kuanzia mwaka huu 2004. Kuanzia mwaka 2014 bodi ya NG-CDF imekuwa ikiandaa rekodi ya matumizi ya fedha katika kila eneo bunge ya kuiwasilisha kwa mkaguzi mkuu wa hesabu za serikali, ambaye kwa kimombo tunasema ni Auditor General. Aidha, katika miaka 5 mfululizo, maeneo bunge 5 yametuzwa kwa kuendeleza usimamizi mzuri na bora wa uwazi wa matumizi ya fedha hizi za NG-CDF. Maeneo bunge hayo, mtazamaji, ni pamoja na Thika mjini ambayo iko katika kaunti ya Kiambu, kuna Mukurweini, mtazamaji, Wajir West ambayo ni Wajir Magharibi, Tongaren kule kwa Yesu wa Tongaren, na pia Kasipul Kabondo. Basi ni maeneo bunge ambayo yametambulika kwa kutumia fedha hizi kwa njia inayofaa kabisa. Tangu kuanzishwa kwa NG-CDF, hazina hiyo imebuni nafasi za kazi kwa kununua zana za ujenzi na kuajiri wakazi wa maeneo husika, kwa sababu hizi ni fedha ambazo zinafaa kutumika kwa kina huko ndani kwenye maeneo bunge nchini Kenya. Bodi ya NG-CDF aidha, mtazamaji, ina mikataba ya utendakazi na maeneo bunge yote yapatayo 290 ili kuhakikisha utendakazi bora kwenye mashinani. Labda mtazamaji, niangazie hotuba yake. Rais William Ruto amesema ya kuwa kuna haja ya kweli ya kutumia fedha hizi kwa njia inayofaa kwa lengo la kuwafikia malengo ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza chini ya uongozi wa Rais William Ruto. Amesema kuna haja ya kujenga kituo cha teknolojia katika kila wadi. Hii itasaidia kuongeza au kuunda nafasi za ajira, akiangazia hasa ukosefu wa ajira kwa vijana ambao tumekuwa na zaidi ya milioni 1 kila mwaka ya wale graduates ambao wanatoka shule halafu baadaye wanakosa mahali pa kufanyia kazi au mahali pa ajira. Basi Rais William Ruto amesisitiza ya kuwa kuna haja ya kujenga kwenye kila wodi kituo cha teknolojia ambacho kwa ujumla kitaunda nafasi za ajira kwa vijana hawa. Aidha, mtazamaji, Rais William Ruto ametoa ilani kali kwa wale wabunge ambao huenda wakatumia hazina ya NG-CDF kwa njia isiyofaa. Amesema ya kwamba mbunge yeyote ambaye atapatikana na hatia ya kutumia hazina ya NG-CDF kwa njia isiyofaa, basi hafai kuwa kiongozi tena, anafaa kubanduliwa, na pia hafai kuchaguliwa tena afisini. Aidha, mtazamaji, Rais William Ruto aliendelea kupigia debe ule mpango wa ujenzi wa nyumba za bei nafuu, akisema pia kwa njia moja au nyingine utakuwa unasaidiwa na hazina hii ya NG-CDF. Hivyo basi, mtazamaji, ni kwa namna moja au nyingine itasaidia kuunda nafasi za ajira kwa vijana mashinani zaidi. Aidha, mtazamaji, amesema kupitia hazina hii, kufuatia athari za mafuriko nchini Kenya, basi serikali inajiandaa vilivyo kuongeza madarasa yapatayo 3,500 kwenye kaunti ya Nairobi. Kaunti ya Nairobi ikiwa ni mojawapo ya kaunti ambazo zimeathirika na mafuriko ambayo yamesababishwa na mvua ya masika ambayo imekuwa ikinyesha tangu mwezi wa Machi. Basi mtazamaji, aidha amesema kuna haja kubwa ya kutumia fedha hii kuangazia athari za mabadiliko ya tabianchi ambayo ndio yanaathiri wa Kenya na pia Afrika Mashariki kwa jumla. Mwisho, mtazamaji, vijana amesema kwamba vijana wapatao 140,000 watanufaika na mradi wa ujenzi wa nyumba za bei nafuu. Ndio hotuba yake Rais William Ruto, akiangazia umuhimu na changamoto ambazo hazina ya NG-CDF. Na pia leo, mtazamaji, ni siku ya World Press Day. Tukibadilisha hayo mazungumzo, kwenye studio nina wageni ambao wana tajriba kweli kabisa. Wamekuja kunitembelea leo hii tukizamia mada ya uhuru wa mwanahabari nchini. Karibuni sana kwenye studio za TV47.
Asante sana.
Nafurahia sana kuona. Sijakuwa nikiwaona kwa